Hey, how's it going? I'm Sommelier Leslie Miller with AmuseWine.com. Chewies. I'm getting ready for the big game this weekend. The big game, and you know who's in it, the Green Bay Packers. What did I tell ya? I know I've been talking my mouth, running my mouth all year long, but guess what? The green and gold is here, and they are going to be in the Super Bowl this weekend. So I thought I'd actually rustle up a couple of really fun, easy recipes to throw together in the kitchen. I gotta tell you this right now, this is just my little disclaimer, I'm not a cook. But I do like to dabble in the kitchen a little bit as long as I have a little vino in my glass. Something super easy to actually put together for game days like Super Bowl is a pulled pork sandwich recipe. What I did here is I took a big, large, bone-in, about 4.5 pound shoulder pork, and I just rubbed it a little bit with brown sugar, oregano, thyme, cayenne, some spice, some salt, pepper, and just kind of tossed it around a little bit. And I brought out my big cast iron pan so I could get a nice kind of charred edge on each of the sides here. Then what I'm going to do once I get a nice kind of like thick little crust around each of the edges here is I'm going to take it and I'm going to throw it into the crock pot. Of course, I live here in the Midwest, and what's better to use in the middle of the winter? A crock pot. So I'm going to throw a little beer here. I'm using a little Minnesota beer. It's actually a brown ale, which I think will actually give the pork kind of a nice round roasty flavor. So I'm going to throw that just in the bottom of the crock pot here. And then once my pork shoulder heads out, I'm going to toss that here in the bottom of the crock pot. And then I'm going to use one of my favorite barbecue sauces. This is Wee Willie's. Again, this is actually out of Minnesota. Who knew that Minnesotans could make barbecue sauce? But this stuff is actually pretty cool. I really like it a lot. It has a nice tangy flavor, and I'm just going to toss that right on top of my big pork shoulder. Next, to accompany all of this yummy deliciousness that we're going to have tomorrow, we are going to break out, I thought I'd break out a nice Midwestern old-time tradition. All right, tater tots here. Little mini tater tots, and guess what I'm going to do? Throw in a little cheese dip to dip them into. Heat this little sucker up. I know it's disgusting. It's not good. It's not good. But let me tell you, tomorrow, after a couple of bottles of wine in, and after the pack is really taken over, I'm going to really enjoy this combo. It'll go great with the pulled pork sandwiches. And then, of course, for dessert, what I did is I did some confetti cupcakes. These are going to go in the oven here in just a minute. And then on top, I did a little green and gold frosting, of course, to top off because we have to have some green and gold food here. There's lots of cheese. Of course, we're going to do a big artisanal cheese board. But what's most important is that we really want to talk about what's going to go with that pulled pork sandwich that you're going to have. Pulled pork. What I love about pork is it's kind of nice and a nice, dark, meaty, especially with all this roastiness going on. I'm going to do a Syrah. One of my favorite Syrahs coming out of California, out of the Russian River in particular, is Martinelli. The Martinelli, this is the Terra Felice, is beautiful. It's dark, it's chewy, it's unctuous, dark raspberry, kind of smoky fruit to it. Actually what I'm enjoying here is going to go perfect with the barbecue. It's going to cut actually just the right amount of fat right through the center of it, but it's also going to sort of snuggle up to those really dark pieces of the pork here. A nice alternate combination could be an Old World Syrah, and this is a little bit darker than your atypical Rhone Valley out of France. This is actually out of La Mancha, and this is Marqués de Grignon. And this is the Calypsa. So this is Syrah and Graciano. Graciano just gives it kind of a nice little blending component here. And this Syrah is kind of dark cherry, but it doesn't go as dark and deep and rich as this Martinelli here in my glass. So two kind of alternate combos that you could throw here up against the pork, and we're just gonna have a great time. So that's all I've got. I have a nice little combination of great flavors going on here tomorrow. Of course, there's going to be probably a lot more wine consumed and a whole heck of a lot of beer. So that's all I have for you. Thanks for joining us, and go Pack, go!